All right, everyone, welcome to another episode of O365A. In this episode, which is going to be similar to our episode 29, we're going to be covering a massive amount of features in Microsoft Teams that have been launched, rolled out, or announced in the past 90 days. So it's a significant list that we've had to populate from visiting various locations. So we went to the Office 365 Message Center, Microsoft Tech Community, the Office 365 roadmap with the Microsoft Teams filter, along with the Enterprise Connect announcements. So what we've done is we've divided the sections into four. So general teams management, calling, meetings, and industry verticals. So I'm going to pass it over to Curtis to start off with the general teams management.
Yeah, thanks, Abid. So in the area of general teams and management, there was a lot of announcements. So I'll run through these quickly. One of them was a feature called announcements, and this refers to the conversation banner, the header when you start a conversation thread in a Teams channel. And basically, the feature allows you to format that banner, that conversation header. And I'm really looking forward to this feature because I've had times where I've authored quite a lengthy channel message, and this will now allow me to sort of make that header, what the topic is about, bigger, larger, or change the font, which would be really useful. Another announcement was now in a private group chat, you can have up to 100 participants. There's also an announcement around the discoverability of private teams. So today you can't discover private teams, but with this announcement, there's a new setting per team that allows whether the team shows up in search results, and also whether it can be included in the team gallery alongside public teams. And team owners will have the ability to control this discoverability setting. The details of this get quite involved. So if you sign in your tenant, go to the message center, there's an announcement on May 1st, and it gives all the settings and all the ways you can control this. Another major announcement was Teams file sharing with permissions. So this is a really interesting feature. It'll just make it easier to share files. Basically, anywhere in Teams, users can go to a file and create a shareable link to that file, and then use that to share it to, there's a number of different options. You can share it with people within your organization, or you can select to share it to very specific people, or even to anyone internal or external to your organization. It's a lot like the SharePoint file sharing works. Another announcement, which would be of more interest to developers, is Microsoft Flow. That the Teams connector for Flow will now support notifying individual users within Teams, and that lights up a number of scenarios that can be automated with Microsoft Flow. Next, there was a major announcement. I think this was a couple of months ago. A lot of people were waiting for this. So this is the Teams desktop app coming into the new Office 365 Pro Plus Click to Run installs. So this is available today. It's applicable to fresh installs of Click to Run on Office 365 Pro Plus. Existing deployments of Click to Run won't get the Teams app just magically appearing. That might change in the future. Teams clients installed through the Office 365 Pro Plus will be on their own update channel though, so they won't get the Office 365 Pro Plus updates. The calendar app replaces the meetings app. So Teams used to have the meetings app, and that gave a view of your meetings today. That's replaced by a calendar app, which gives you a nice calendar view, and you can see all your meetings for the calendar range you're currently looking at. On the manageability front, Teams PowerShell. So there was a Teams PowerShell module that was in preview. That is now officially GA'd and fully supported. A couple of major announcements going back to Enterprise Connect. If you missed it, private channels was a major announcement. So that's the ability to segregate a channel within a team that only applies to a subset of the team members. And that's useful for situations where you've spun up a team to discuss a particular topic that might have some sensitive content and is only applicable to a subset of the members. So this allows you to just segregate those conversations to just the team members that it's applicable to. Another announcement in Enterprise Connect was the support of the Teams client running on VDI, Virtual Desktop. There's no video or calling, and no ability to update the client when it's running on VDI. Also, there was team app policies announced. So this allows you to, or allows administrators control the order of the apps as they appear on the app rail inside the client. There was also an update to org-wide teams. They bumped the limit up to 5,000 members in a team. So that's useful for the town hall purposes and some other use cases that require a larger team size. And lastly, Microsoft announced some changes to the way end users can hide teams to stay organized. After Teams is deployed, users could quickly end up with a lot of teams, and that clutters their experience. There used to be the ability to favorite and remove from favorites. That is now called show and hide. So you can choose which teams and channels you want to show up in your teams list just by showing and hiding the teams and channels that are, most applicable to you. All right, so that's it for the general teams announcements.
Yeah, so I'm taking over the calling section, and not as many announcements as Kurt with the general side, but most of these are pretty significant. So in June, we're going to see music on hold. This is the ability to replace that hold music or put your own customized hold music. So it could be marketing information. So there's not much detail on the roadmap of what this is going to be like, how customizable it is, or what devices will support it. But any kind of additional features in that PBX space are definitely a welcome. One of the big ones is secondary ringer, and this is also happening in June. And this is the ability, this is a much needed feature. This has the ability for another system audio device to ring. And this helps where, say, you have a receptionist or someone that doesn't have their headset on, but they want to still know that an incoming call is happening. So maybe in a warehouse you can connect into a loudspeaker or something like that. So the ability to ring multiple devices connected to a Teams client is definitely welcome. One of the features that should be rolling out this month is Busy on Busy, and so this is useful in places like Germany. With the ability to send calls directly to voicemail when you're busy without having the banner or the toast notification. I believe this also allows the ability to just make those people calling in to have the busy tone versus sending it to voicemail, but it'll be interesting to see how those policies are rolled out. A big one here is Teams calling for everyone. So this is the calling app that's now exposed in all clients. And this is the ability for your users to do VoIP calling. It doesn't give them the dial pad, so unless they have calling plans or direct routing, they won't be able to dial PSTN numbers. But it does allow internal VoIP communication or federated VoIP communication, and also voicemail. And so you can disable these features, but it's nice to have this functionality without any additional cost. Location-based routing was announced at Enterprise Connect for direct routing. And this is, in some regions, it's illegal to bypass that PSTN provider to decrease long distance or calling costs. And so location-based routing will allow you to restrict whole bypass for Microsoft Teams based on their geolocation. Another one was Dynamic E911. There wasn't much information on the roadmap for this, but I think this is going to tie into the location information based on location-based routing. And this will be the ability to update the user's 911 information if they have to make a call to a local PSAP or whatever like that. The big thing at Enterprise Connect was the device ecosystem. So we're really seeing that device ecosystem mature. A lot of these devices are now certified for Teams and they're available for purchase. So things from IP phones to rooms, meeting rooms, and even just the components for those rooms. We also saw some next generation phones. So IP phones that had video cameras on that and stuff we should be seeing in this calendar year. So on that telephony side, it's a welcome addition to have certified handsets, and in the boardrooms having certified devices. We also have call park policies, and this is the ability for a user to place a call on hold up in the team service in the cloud. And when that call is parked, they get a unique code to retrieve that call. And this is for, like, say, receptionist or in a warehouse where you have to page sales for, to pick up call on line XYZ, and you can transfer the calls in that manner. You might not know who's going to pick it up, so you can kind of do department level transfers. And then we talked about auto attendance and call queues on episode 35, which is just the one before this one. And that has the full recording of what to know about the changes between auto attendance, call queues, and even resource accounts as these services move from the Skype for Business admin center into the Teams admin center. So there's some licensing changes that are also happening. So definitely, if you're interested in those advanced call routing, check out that episode. And I'll pass it over to Dino to talk the meeting space.
Thanks, Mike. So lots of updates and meetings. I'll try to get through all these quickly. Single toolbar for controls and meetings and calling. So I think they've made a nice change here where you've got the control bar in meetings, and you can access through the ellipsis menu many of the features that you had to go elsewhere to do. So that's rolling out now and available. So you should see that in your Teams meetings. Another great feature is the ability to share system audio in a Teams meeting. This rolled out in May, and that just simply allows you to, when you're playing a clip of video, to have that audio also come through in the meeting. Before, that was previously not possible. So that's a really welcome feature. Live events, formerly Skype meeting broadcast, is now generally available. So we've talked about this in a previous podcast. That's the ability to do the one-to-many type produced productions in terms of meeting broadcasts. Also announced at EC was the Microsoft Whiteboard functionality, which allows users to ink together in a whiteboard in a Teams meeting. So that's pretty cool. So now you can collaborate in the native Microsoft Whiteboard application within a Teams meeting. Outlook Mobile supports Teams meetings now, so this is great. Both from Android and iOS, you can schedule and create a meeting, a Teams meeting. Next, we have desktop sharing, and Teams meetings is now available in the Chrome browser. Again, that was announced at Enterprise Connect. Also in the whiteboard space, another cool feature was the ability to bring analog whiteboards into meetings. So if you have a person standing and writing on an analog whiteboard, the Teams will take that and convert it into digital ink, which is kind of neat. So, and you see the presenter, there's some demos of this that you can check out online, and you see the presenter sort of go transparent while they're working at the whiteboard. So that's pretty cool. 9 Square Video also announced at Enterprise Connect, so adding, upping the current limit of 4 squares to 9. That was announced, and there's no date as of yet when that's going to release, but expect to see that. So that's another welcome feature. Background blur, not new, but background blur with custom backgrounds is coming. So the ability to change the background to something else other than a blurry background is coming. So that's pretty cool. Again, you can see some examples of this online. There's a new CS Teams meeting policy PowerShell commandlet to manage how chat works in Teams meetings. Live captions, which is the ability to transcribe user's voice into text in a meeting. So this is super powerful, for anyone with a disability that maybe there's a language barrier that there's someone speaking in a different language and you need to transcribe it. So this will address that. English is in preview right now, but expect to see other language support rolling out in the next coming months. The Teams meeting migration service was in TAP, and that's now been GA'd. So this is the feature that allows the migration of all the meetings when you move from one of the, from Skype to Teams. So if you're in SFB collab mode and in the Teams and Skype interoperability, and you move to meetings first or Teams collab and meetings mode, then the migration service will bring the meetings over into Teams, and send out the new links to everyone. Lastly, the Surface Hub 2 announced April 17th. Nice new product. The 2S is being shown off, and there's like a tour going on right now demoing that product, and I believe it's going to be shipping beginning in June. And so that's going to be coming out, and expect to see some neat things there. I believe pricing is going to come in at about 9,000 MSRP on that for the 55-inch models, and there's hopefully, to be announced soon, other models coming out. With that, I'm going to pass it on to Hab.
Yeah, and I guess and just to add on to what Dino mentioned, stay tuned for a podcast on the Surface Hub 2, maybe a little sneak peek video action with the device. So it should be great. Anyway, so yeah, I'm going to be talking about industry verticals. There's definitely a significant amount of features that had been previously announced that are now actually starting to roll out this May. For instance, multi-team support in shifts. Again, providing the ability for the first line worker to select the appropriate team within the shift module, and then I guess perform whatever the actions that they require in there. Previously, you could only be assigned to a single team. Now you have the ability to be associated with multi-teams, so that should be good. The ability to have a time clock in shifts as well. So being able to clock in, clock out, that kind of ability. So it'll help, with the business from a, keeping track of the hours and the shift perspective. And I think Michael was mentioning earlier that you can sort of integrate it with like a geofence, so that when the user comes in within that particular area, you can clock in and clock out as you leave that sort of geofence, which was pretty interesting. And next thing is the first line worker graph API integration. So what this does is it allows for enterprise workforce management systems to integrate with Microsoft Teams shifts. So it provides them the ability to have that integration where you're managing all your scheduling and everything like that from an enterprise workforce management system. And then priority messaging, which provides the ability to have priority notifications or an urgent message to be sent to a particular recipient every 2 minutes. I think it's up to 20 minutes, which is the max end there. And then I believe that there's going to be some delegation that's going to be added on after the fact, so that if that particular user can't handle that priority message, they can delegate it to someone else, right? And then there's also the integration with the Fast Healthcare Interoperability Resources standard. So there's a healthcare standard that is now going to be able to integrate with Microsoft Teams itself. And then lastly, which I think is very welcoming, is the ability for templates with regards to certain verticals. So from an education perspective, such as class, staff, type of teams, retail templates, like store, manager, collaboration of teams, healthcare templates, ward and hospital, and then the ability to design and customize your own templates, right? So there's a number of industry specific templates to get started. So then you can go from there if you want to customize those particular templates themselves. So that in a nutshell covers the features that have been announced and rolled out and coming in the past 90 days. I know the guys, we tried to go fast and furious in this podcast to try and cover everything. So hopefully everyone will have a better understanding if you haven't had a chance to keep up with all of the messaging from all the various locations. Hopefully this will keep you up to date with what's happening in the world of Microsoft Teams. And again, if you have any requests for a specific topic, feel free to reach out to us on Twitter or on the blog, and be happy to try and accommodate. So again, thanks to everybody for listening in, and hopefully we'll catch you on the next episode.
See ya.